Make sure you don't forget to check out and buy my new book, The Construction Worker, based on the life of my grandfather. Just head over to Amazon, the app or the website, switch over the category search to books, and type in The Construction Worker, and you will find it right there on the website. You can get it on Amazon, actual hard physical copy, or you could buy it on Kindle. So pick up a copy today at Amazon or Kindle. And I hope you guys enjoy. And like always, thank you so much for watching this video.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, live from the studio, GhoulishGallery.
Boo! Ooh, I'm sorry. Sorry, audience, it's alright. Did I give you a little bit of a spook or a jump? Did I even terrify you a little? Well, then you're in the right place. Welcome to another fantastic day of GhoulishGallery. On today's theme, Deathathon, or Grimathon, whichever one you think sounds best. Now, I mentioned this many times in the last few entries of why this is our theme and how terrifying death itself is and how you or those around you will suddenly go like that because it's simply your time. Speaking of which, it's a lot like our next entry, Final Destination 3. I hope you don't have a phobia of roller coasters or anything. You know, an accident that's happened to many theme parks. Oh yes, it has come to this, Final Destination 3. Now this one I actually do have a lot to say, which I know is saying a lot because I had a lot to say about the second one. But this one is always the one people label as one thing only, the decisive one. Which I think they have a point. No joke, when I was a kid growing up, when I first started watching the movies for the first time, my favorite one for years was this one. I really enjoyed the third one and was never able to explain quite why. Maybe it was because of at the time, me being, able to relate to the fact that the death comes from a roller coaster, which I rode before lots of times. Or maybe because of how well the chemistry with the characters are, or maybe because the deaths were just that good. Well, let's dive into it. So this movie, unlike the other ones, is about a roller coaster accident by a group of high school friends who are about to graduate high school. The big twist we get in this movie is that the two main girls, one of them actually wants to dump their boyfriend, who at the same time was actually planning to propose to her. But as a twist of fate would have it, even though the girl had the vision, she still wasn't able to save them. The only ones who don't make it out are their significant other that they're with at the time, which forces her and her boyfriend's friend to instead survive and go through this together. A quick lore dump from the new friend of her boyfriend saying, oh yeah, by the way, this happened before, only referencing the first movie. Like I said, for some reason after 2, we never got a reference to 2. It's kind of like they tried to ignore it for some reason, and they try to get to the bottom of it. Of course, the first girl has, time to try to get behind this because it just sounds ridiculous, which you can blame her. But then after the first death happens, which is a really cool little game of mousetrap of trapping these two typical cheerleaders into a tanning trap, basically, and getting them cooked alive. Yes, we get a nice booby shot. She ends up starting to actually realize he might have a point and this might be true. And now it becomes this really cool idea where she was a photographer for the yearbook, and this time, instead of visions or little twists in her mind, she's starting to get hints on what the deaths will be by just the photographs. Each photo she took has a hint towards how each person was going to die, which is very clever. I really enjoy a fun puzzle game of, man, what from this photo can I use to try to figure out how they're going to die and how to save them? It doesn't do anything new with the how to stop death. It just goes back to the usual, just save him and keep the cycle going and you'll be fine. You know, what they tried to do in the first movie that didn't work at all. It doesn't do what Final Destination 2 did, where there was at least new lore with the whole, if there's life or there's meant to be death, you'll be saved, or anything like that. It just sticks to the original formula of one, of them just trying to save each other over and over, hoping that's enough to get rid of death. which isn't bad. Like I said, this movie does flawlessly with how good the characters are. I love their relationships. I love how she gets close with her boyfriend's friend as they start to bond and mesh with each other over the loss they both suffered. This movie lets us have a lot of time with dealing with loss itself and struggle of those that we never thought would die just dying right in front of us, and even with her, the tragedy that she could have done something and feeling like she didn't do enough. This movie takes its time with the sadness and the grief process, and it really is good for that reason. This movie doesn't tiptoe or get straight to the gore or anything, like a certain other piece of shit we'll be seeing soon. No, it takes its time to flesh out the characters, the room, the feel, and everything that we have. Even with a few clever kills, if you want a quick rundown from me without giving too much spoilers, my favorite kills would have to be the nail gun, the gym, because the gym one is just so out of the blue and wacky that it was funny, and the one that had to do with the drive-thru. That death was really well done because it was like a real fun twist and a surprise. That one genuinely got to me. I was like, okay, that's pretty clever. For all this and more, I highly recommend Final Destination 3. It is high up there. Now, yes, I will admit, years later and the more time I spend with this series, even on this recent rewatch, 3 is no longer my favorite one of all time. When I was a kid, it was, no questions asked. I think 3 was the best one when I was a kid growing up. Now, after watching through all of them, I don't think so. It's still very high up there. It is very high up there. But I don't think it's as good as 2 or as good as the other one we'll get later too. But it's still an amazing movie. Characters, emotions, I mean, hell, even that ending with the train is just perfection. The fear of it, the sense of being trapped, the sense of, even though I know what's going on, I can't do anything this time. It's all really well done. Now, yes, fun fact, the movie wasn't supposed to end here. The movie was originally supposed to end right at the festival when the one guy dies, but testing audiences kind of went, that's it. Which, to be fair, is actually fair to say. I mean, if it just ended there, it would feel like one of those movies that just stops with no answers. I'm glad that they reworked it and added the train thing, because that gave it a full closure instead of just a regular, I guess it's over. For all this and more, I highly recommend Final Destination 3. If I had to rank this one would be right underneath, well, this one would have to be right underneath 2 or the one later on we're going to see. But we won't know till I'm done ranking all of them. So let's move on to the next Ghoulish Gallery. Like, subscribe, hope you guys enjoyed, and please write in the comments below your favorite deaths of this movie, your favorite horror movies in general, and more about this spooky holiday.